Good Tuesday evening, everybody. Come on in. Welcome to my celebration of African American History Month. This is my small contribution, my little bit that I wanted to do this year since I'm not able to display and present at the Arts Council because of COVID and for other things that are going on. But I decided this year, you know what? All these things are in my home. I'm just going to pull out a few of them and just go through some of the things and share some of the things that I've learned and some of the things that I've displayed over the years. So here we are celebrating African American history for in the month of February. Uh, I have always, all of my life, since I can remember, been fascinated with history and especially Black history or African American history. And so this is my contribution to that celebration. Now, as you know, the museum in Washington, D.C. is beautiful, it's awesome. And since it's been built, there's one thing or another has kept me from it. It's on my bucket list, as they say. I am going to get there. I have been all over these United States and across the waters looking at things that replicate and represent African American history. And here we've got the best, biggest one here in the States. And I haven't gotten there yet, but it is in my plans uh, to get there hopefully this spring when this virus lets up on us. That is one of the first things I want to do when I step outside of North Carolina. So I'm just going to take you through some things that I think are interesting. And since this is a month long celebration, and of course I can do it beyond that, but for this month, specifically designated by Mr. Carter G. Woodson to celebrate African American history, um, he chose the second week in February to coincide with the birthday of Frederick Douglass. And of course, many of you may or may not know that Frederick Douglass was a famed abolitionist who escaped. I can't talk today. I'm using my CLs and everything else. Excuse that. Frederick Douglass is a famed abolitionist who escaped from slavery, is the person that was very, very instrumental in slavery being abolished. And the other person that Carter G. Woodson considered, as far as setting a date, of course, was Abraham Lincoln, who formally abolished slavery. So we're not going to get into the slavery part of it itself, but just to give you an idea of where and why uh, Black History Month came about. Why is it in February? Because um, those two birthdays were in February. And of course, you know, ask the obvious question, why do we celebrate Black History Month? We celebrate Black History Month or African American History Month so that we will never, ever, ever forget the contributions that African Americans or that Negroes or blacks or whatever your point of reference is. There are so many inventions and contributions made by African Americans. They are countless. And as I go through the month, I'm going to just show you some of the things that I've accumulated here. And it probably does not even scratch the surface. But nonetheless, I'm going to share those things with you as you look at this video. Just sort of think about these things as we come to them. Let me get in a little bit closer here, and you'll be able to see. As you can see now, what I've got set up here so far is just my banner, and I've got some books. Lord, I've got tons and tons of books that talk about Black history. So that first book, of course, is about Frederick Douglass. The second book is from Slavery to Freedom. And of course, I shared last year with you all the African American music trail. There are just so many, many things that can be shared. And like I said, I'm going to share as many of them as I can with y'all during this month. And as you can see in the background there, you see a picture of Martin Luther King. As I go through, I'll get closer up so that you can see exactly what these books are talking about and what some of these symbols and decor is all about. As you can see, I've got my Kwanzaa candle set up. Y'all have to forgive my little green one in the front. It's the hardest thing in the world about green candles. I broke my big one, so I'm selling for the little one. I'm just going to have to try to go out and purchase another large green candle. But these just some things that are near and dear to my heart. I've got all kinds of black artifacts throughout my home. I've got some packed away, and these are those are the things that I use whenever I do a display. But what I like most of all is just going back and reminiscing about some of the things that African Americans have done in this country, and mainly because I have children and grandchildren and young adults in my family. I want them to know this history. I've been doing this for I think the first time I started doing displays for Black history was probably back in 1975. So over the years, pretty much every year, I curated a display of some sort to be shared with the community, and it is something, like I say, it's something I'm proud of. It's something that I enjoy doing, and I hope that if you have the opportunity to participate in any celebration of Black history, that you'll take part in. I know it's difficult now because most of the local places in town that were having the celebrations, they've scaled back, and I certainly, because of this virus, I can't get out and about. So this is why I thought I'm gonna make my own little display right here in my home. I'm not gonna pull out everything. Excuse me. I don't have the space to do that, but I can pull out enough that I can give you an idea of some of the things that African Americans have done over the years. Now you think about some of the things that we use on a daily basis, and without those things, how would we be able to navigate? Yes, indeed, we have to think about it. Can you imagine not having peanut butter to go with your jelly, to go on that peanut butter and jelly sandwich? Well, it would be kind of difficult, wouldn't it? But we can thank George Washington Carver for that. Very smart individual, very industrious. If we look at all these different things here, I just want to get this going here so y'all can see them up close. All the things that, because this young man here was smart enough, he didn't invent the peanut, he just invented the things that you could do as a result of having peanuts. So these are some of the unpatented inventions from the peanut. If you look on here, you can just see all the many things. As you look down here, something I found, I've had this information for years, but something I guess I just overlooked. Breakfast food number 5 with extra protein for diabetic people. From skins of peanuts, over 30 different dyes from black to orange to yellow. Now, all this information is in the Black Museum in California, and it's something to see. I'm going to suggest something for people who like to read and to research. 1001 Black Inventions by Pinpoints. They made that into a play, and it was just really awesome. And what they did, they showed how if we did not have traffic lights, if we did not have washing machines, if we did not have, and ladies, if we didn't have those hot combs, if we didn't have all kinds, I mean, what would we do without a holder for our toilet paper? Now, these things here were invented by African American women. A roller for our bathroom tissue. What in the world? What in the world would we do without having somewhere a little decorative roller to stick that toilet paper on. A pastry fork way back in 1892 to make those pretty little designs on our pastry for our pie. So just the simple things that we take for granted, African American women invented these things that I'm talking about now. African American women, all kinds of things. The fruit press, the straightening comb, of course, Madam C.J. Walker. All of these small things, the ironing board, what in the world? Listen, I remember when I first married my husband back in the 70s, he was a military man, so his uniforms, those hard cotton uniforms, had to be ironed, and you had to bear down on them and press hard to get them ironed and spray that starch on them. So how in the world could I have done that without an ironing board? So things that we take for granted. Just think our African American sisters and brothers who have been so diligent and so gifted and so talented. This is a list of inventions by African American women. I'm not trying to read them all off. That's why I'm putting them right here on the screen. So if you're interested in them, you got this video. You can look at it. Let me get this so I can get a better shot than that. Okay, there we go. Here we go. And what I'll do is I'll just take it right across like so. And just bring it, if I can get it even, I can just bring it down like this. Okay, it's better. I don't know my left from my right, y'all, today. But anyway, I just wanted to share these things with you all because I get so excited when I start talking about this, because I know that my sisters and brothers from my culture, from my heritage, were responsible for all of these things that we take for granted every day when we walk in our kitchen, when we go into the bathrooms. Most things, you think about a lot of things, just think about this list now. I've given you all a glimpse of it. Think about all of those things on this list that we use daily. We use some of this stuff on a daily basis. And you know what? Think what in the world would we do without them? I don't know if you ever even thought about how these things came about. But now you know. I'm sure that's why I wanted to share with y'all. Because, I thought I've had all this information for years and years. And it's on display usually whenever I go out and about and talk about Black history. But how often do we just really read and understand and know who it is that actually invented these things that we, and some of these things we have to have them to live by. Otherwise, we would not be able to function. Okay, I'm just going to move it in a little bit closer and let y'all just get a glimpse at these books that I've got a ton of books. So each day that I come on here to talk to you, I'm going to add some more things to it. I got this small space, and believe it or not, this is in my hallway coming in my front door. It's not a big space, but it's big enough for me to do this. Okay. Of course, this one here is the African American Music Trail. It depicts all the famous African Americans throughout eastern North Carolina. And if you live in North Carolina, I think I told you all about this book last year. Hopefully you had the opportunity to get you a copy of it. It is good. It's probably have some of your neighbors right in that particular book. This book here in the middle, the gentleman that wrote this book lived in Raleigh, North Carolina, right up the road from us. Mr. John Hope Franklin, From Slavery to Freedom. And what it does, it chronicles Black history from its inception to the time that he passed away. Now, Mr. Franklin has passed away, but this is a wonderful book. When I went back to school back in 2000, when I go back to school and took this course. Probably 2009 when I graduated, finally. After all those years, I finally graduated. But anyway, I went back and I took an African American history course. And this is a book. This From Slavery to Freedom was the book that we used for the course. And I'm here to tell you, this was a good book. I learned so much. I learned so much from this book, and it's a great reference book as well. So if you're really interested in getting a good bird's eye view about African American history, check out From Slavery to Freedom. And of course, this next book here, Mr. Frederick Douglass was a famous abolitionist that was very instrumental in us being freed from slavery. So that's a good book, Frederick Douglass by William S. Freely. There are many books on Frederick Douglass. I mean, all over the place. So anyone you get, I'm sure you won't be sorry. But I just suggest, that's just some suggested reading. And while I'm suggesting stuff, I was listening to a program today, and they were talking about a TV program on PBS, and it's called Finding Your Roots. I have not looked at it, but I've been told that it's a pretty good program to watch if you're interested in learning some things about Black history. So, okay, let's go on over here. Of course, there's Dr. King. Now, Dr. King was born in Atlanta, and so was I. So we were practically neighbors. He was much older than me, but I remember, growing up as a little girl in Atlanta. I can remember going down Auburn Avenue, and that's where he lived, down in that area, and his father's church was in that area. Dr. King Sr. Martin Luther King Sr. So this is something that's going to always be a part of my display. Now, one thing I just want to show you in this book here, I put this book together probably 1985, and I've added some things to it. People have given me information over time, and of course that's his I Have a Dream speech there. I got a copy of that. I mean, how can you not have a copy of his speech if you're going to know about Dr. King? So these pictures here, what I'm trying to get at is it's this way. That's a great picture of him. I'm going to be presenting showing you all some pictures too that whenever I first started displaying, I was overseas in Spain. And that was my first taste of having to be responsible for the special emphasis program for the company that I was working for. And so I decided, I thought, because I'm always a very visual person, so I thought to myself, you know what? I need a good picture. So Tony, my son Tony, could draw. He could always draw really good. And then he had gotten with this lady friend of ours that was an artist, and she was teaching Tony how to do oil painting. So I told Tony that night, I said, Tony, I need you to draw me a picture of Dr. Martin Luther King. He said, okay, Mom. He was 12, 13, somewhere along in there. The next morning, when I got ready to leave, I was so excited. He had drawn this picture. I got it packed away still. So, but Dr. King was one of the first things that his history was one of the first things that I put in my display. And that particular year, because I was just starting out with it, it was about the only thing that I had, because I didn't even know what to do or where to start. I could have talked about it, but I wanted something visual. Okay, so this is what I'm trying to show you. The 10 most dramatic events in African American history by Lerone Bennett. You may be familiar with him. Awesome writer. This was excerpts taken from Ebony magazine, and so I went through that magazine. 1992 is when I took this out of the magazine, and I put it together because he did such a beautiful job with starting 335 years ago. He said the black coming was the first thing. The second thing was the founding of Black America, Nat Turner's War, Free at Last, Booker T. Washington versus W.E.B. Du Bois. You know, they had some kind of conflicting ideas about how things should go as far as the black community was concerned. But nonetheless, it all came back full circle. Let me do better with this, y'all. Hold on one second.